All right, let's dive in. Tonight, we're stepping into the shadow of a really dark and powerful parable. It's a story that takes a familiar tradition and just completely inverts it into a night of absolute systematic erasure.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we need this core analogy right up front. Think about a traditional Passover story. It's like a lighthouse, right? A beacon that guides people to safety, to liberation. But this story, this is a siren song. It lures you in, not to save you, but to completely and utterly dismantle you.
So, at the very heart of all this is a figure called the Grand Architect. Now, you should think of him less as a divine creator and more like a cosmic system administrator. He's overseeing what he calls the higher plan, and this Passover he's ordered, it's got nothing to do with freedom. It's a command to debug his creation. It's a culling. His decree is, well, it's simple and it's terrifying. Find and eliminate all these static and bugs that are disrupting his perfect geometric design. And what exactly are these bugs? Well, it's individuality, it's dissent, free thought, anything he considers a spark of reason. To get this done, he unleashes three entities, the corrupt Trinity, and he empowers them with something called the Feast of the Fourfold Void.
This right here gives us a crystal clear roadmap for the horror that's about to unfold. See, this isn't just random chaos. Now, it's a precise three-stage process. First, you get the physical consumption of the self. Second, the mental enforcement of absolute conformity. And third, a final devastating deception that literally rewrites the soul.
So let's look at that first plague, the arrival of the all-consuming maw. This is where the physical harvest of every single individual kicks off.
Now, to understand what the maw is actually hunting, you have to understand this one term, luch. The parable defines it as spiritual energy, the very essence of what makes you, you. Your memories, your passions, your little quirks, all of it. But to the maw, none of that is sacred. It's just fuel. It's raw material for its own evolution.
In this quote, this just gets right to the heart of the maw's purpose. You see, it isn't just killing people, it's metabolizing their identity. It takes what it calls that fleeting error of being an individual, and it grinds it down into this homogeneous fuel, transforming unique souls into uniform ash, all just to satisfy its bottomless greed.
So with individuality literally consumed, the terrified survivors now have to face the next stage. The pale Redeemer arrives, and the whole process of erasure shifts from physical consumption to mental and spiritual conformity.
The Redeemer's method is just terrifyingly subtle. He doesn't show up with obvious force. Instead, he offers a solution to all the fear and pain of the night, a false cure. But here's the catch. Accepting it isn't freedom. It's a poison that stains your very soul and binds you to his will.
He pulls this off through a process called striving deconstruction. Using his crown of roses, thorny vines literally wrap around the spirit. But they're not there to kill it. No. They're there to methodically purge it of any imperfection of difference. It's an ideological purification, stripping away every single thing that makes you unique until all that's left is a perfect, hollow copy.
So here's the crucial point, the twisted part of it all. The Redeemer doesn't just destroy, he rebuilds. He transforms unique spirits into, quote, mere data, creating a whole legion of mindless duplicates. They look human, but they're just walking, talking extensions of his will, a living monument to forced unity.
And the final act of this erasure, it belongs to the whispering seraph, who shows up in the form of a black and white phoenix. And believe me, this is the most insidious stage yet. The complete rewriting of reality itself, and the absolute silencing of truth.
The seraph finds the broken survivors and revives them, but only to trap them in this horrible psychological feedback loop. It whispers ideas of subjectivity and moral relativism into their minds, convincing them that the horrors they just endured weren't atrocities at all. No, they were divine revelations, a necessary pain that was actually for their own good. It is gaslighting on a spiritual scale.
And this is the final nail in the coffin of the self. The seraph performs what's called preference falsification. It erases genuine memories and emotions, even something as fundamental as love, and replaces them with an imposed belief system. It's the ultimate act of propaganda, where the victims don't just accept their new reality, they actually learn to applaud their own chains.
So what's the result of all of this? As dawn finally breaks, we see the silent city, the final, perfected product of the Trinity's horrific work.
And just look at what they've become. Each member of the Trinity is now a living monument to the type of erasure it perfected.
The Maw is a dense furnace of raw, stolen power. The Redeemer is a towering monolith of absolute conformity. And the Seraph, well, the Seraph has become a fog of pure gaslighting, covering everything in a permanent shroud of lies.
And so, at the end of it all, the architect's plan actually worked. The system was debugged. What the story calls the new nihilism has been achieved. A perfected creation, but one where a singular, corrupt, and completely unquestionable truth has utterly erased the individual.
And that leaves us with this final, chilling thought. This whole parable is about a system trying to perfect itself by getting rid of its flaws. But it forces us to ask, in any system, any society, what happens when the bug it decides to erase is the very spark that makes us who we are?